Stava a succedere nel bordello.
There's a lot of stuff that I can't say on camera, on the record. I've been avoiding the fucking the U.S. immigration people for like a week. No, I'm serious. Did Chris tell you what happened? No. I got held up at the border. It was a whole thing. I felt like they checked my phone. They went through my phone. They got Chris Italia on a watch list now because they checked my DMs. They're like, who's this? What's Chris short for? Who is he? Fucking, what's his business? Imagine this, dude. They went through my phone and I got through. Think of all the things that you have on your phone that they could use as, I don't know, ammo to build like a case around which they want to argue you not coming into the country. Like, it's over for you at that point. Yeah. For a lot of people. And I still got through. But I have a feeling that they might have like bugged my phone or something.
You think so?
Well, no, I don't think that's legal. They gave me a piece of paper indicating what the phone search involves, and I didn't read it because I wanted to hit the road. But, yeah, I mean, it could say in that sheet, You
think they'd tell you?
By the way, we have in reserve a right to bug your phone. No, I don't think they would tell me. I think that's the point. They give you the piece of paper so that anything could be in the fine print. I don't think that's what they do. I think if they really suspected me of anything, they're not the FBI.
Right.
They're not the CIA. They're not Mossad. They're none of those things. They're just the immigration guys. I think they check the phone, make sure that, the story that I gave as to why I'm coming checks out because they were afraid that I wouldn't come back to Canada. And I guess once corroborated, they let me go. But having said that, I've been in the mind, the headspace, with, frame of mind for the past week. Fucking don't say anything on record.
Right.
If needed, bookmark it. I'll talk to you in person. Old school. Like the phones are tapped. Like when the mob was trying to,
Do you think, I think the ICE guys or the immigration guys are just the TSA guys who went to community college?
They might be. But whether they went to Harvard or whether they didn't go to school, got a GED, they still have the right to refuse my entry into the country. And once they start poking and prying and looking through my shit, looking through my bags, who the fuck knows, right? It's game over. I'll tell the whole story on the pod. Fuck it. Are we rolling right now?
Yeah, toss the sunglasses on. We can use part of this.
Okay, well, fuck it. Let's use the whole thing. I mean, this is a little bit of a rough entry into the episode, but the hell with it. I mean, it's been a rough week, and I think it's as good a Should I put the sunglasses on? Fuck, I know it's very douchey. I know this is weird. You and I don't know each other that well. You're like, who is this fucking guy who's who isn't even passed at the club, and he's using the studio, using my time, using our resources, putting on sunglasses. Who is this fucking guy? But it's my shtick. I'll put the glasses on. There's bright lights in here. Fuck it. But no. So no. The point is, when necessary, I know when to keep my fucking mouth shut and not say stuff on camera, on the record. We'll talk after. We'll talk later. We'll talk it out. And it's not that I have anything to hide. I just don't want to give them more things to ask me that I can, get in trouble for and have to then explain, even if there's a rational explanation.
Right.
That's the boat I found myself in this past week. It's been a chaotic week. They tried to, get to the bottom of my visit to the United States, and I told them what it was, but you don't want to be in that position. You want to be let the fuck through, and you don't want there to be a record on your passport, flagging you saying, this guy was once apprehended for whatever fucking reason. Now I'm on a watch list. There are probably people, when they say this guy who committed this act of terror was known to authorities, it's because of like sketchy, crossings of the border, I assume, or that could be a reason why, they wind up on a watch list. He was known to authorities. Yeah, he tried crossing the border once before. They thought this guy's sketchy, and they gave him the benefit of the doubt. He crossed over 4 more times, and on the 5th time, whatever. He blew up the train station. Type of thing.
Do you think they think you're going to sell maple syrup secrets to us? Do you think that's why they stopped you?
I'd be doing a service to America. I think, for the greater good of the country, they should have allowed me in if that was their fear. But no, the idea of them stopping me was that they said I appeared to be exhibiting all of the behavior of a person who is aiming to come into the country without any intention of returning. And I had to prove strong ties to Canada. I literally told him, dude, I'm Italian. I'm not going to miss Christmas. I'm coming back. Those are my strong ties to Canada. You know?
The gabagool is bringing me back.
Bro, fuck it. Yeah, it's all right. You're Greek. You don't know what you're talking about. It's bacala. It's fish on Christmas. But, you know, same energy. you get it. Like,
I know about the 7 fishes.
You know about the 7 fish? The 7 fishes. Yeah. You even called it 7 fishes. You're culturally appropriating us now, fucking calling it fishes. Sleep with the fishes. Yeah, so it was a whole thing. But they treated me like a Guatemalan. That's the point. And they have to. Whether I'm at the northern border or the southern border, they ask you the same questions, and they kind of treat it with, they treat, every case with the same, logic, I guess, and they paint everyone with the same brush. It didn't help that they said, what do you do for a living? And I told them, I gave them the list of things that I do for income. And one of them is a thing which I've declared on my taxes in Canada, which I did not want to omit because I wanted to not lie to them at all. And that's by the way, this is what led to the whole issue of being held up at the border, was the fact that I was just very open and honest because I wanted to not, under any circumstance, jeopardize any future opportunities to come to the United States and eventually maybe have the availability to legally migrate or get sponsored or whatever if it makes, career sense at any point in the future, whenever that is down the line. I said I'll be especially open and honest with them. So when they said, what do you do for a living? I gave them the laundry list of things that I do, pretty much all for myself. I do a cocktail of things, but which don't really matter because they're not interesting, except for the one in this case, which is what got flagged, which is I said barbering. And I'm a barber. Because I do cut hair, I have an operation which I declare taxes on. And I did not want to omit that because I figured if they wanted to corroborate, I don't know what, information they have access to, the Canadian and American governments with NAFTA and shit. I don't know what fucking, what shit they're sharing with each other. So I thought maybe they're sharing income and stuff. And T4 statements. I don't know if the tax slips in the US are referred to as T4s. In Canada, they're referred to as T4s. It's a tax slip. So I put personal income as being what it is. And one of the sources of that income is barbering. So what do you do, sir? X, Y, Z, and I'm a barber. Even though it's like the least important thing that I do. They go, no problem. You're going for 6 weeks. Please pop the trunk. First thing they see, what is this barbering equipment, sir? I'm like, I want to keep myself looking fresh. That's what I said. But it'd be gone a long time. I don't want to fucking pay, to get haircuts with someone I don't trust. They go, interesting. Please pull over.
Do you think the fact that you're calling it Barbary confused them and made them think you were a pirate? Because that's what they used to call it back in the day, Barbary pirates.
What? I have no idea what you're talking about.
Barbary pirates? They were pirates back in the Caribbean. Barbary, not barbering. They might have heard Barbary.
Oh, because they had beards. I have no idea. But what pissed me off was they kept referring to it as hairdressing. You're a hairdresser back in Canada. Just diminishing me to fucking a hairdresser. I never mentioned comedy once, by the way. And then they went through my fucking phone, which I had to give them access to, I think, if I wanted any shot at getting into the country. And then at that point, all bets are off. If you could beat that, you're a good person. Because everyone who's a good person has bad shit on their phone, myself included, Like if they had gone through my notes, I don't know what they might have found, right? Stuff that might implicate or just imply intent to do a thing that may or may not have been. I don't know what I'm saying in my notes. They're scattered. I take a lot of, if you haven't noticed, Peter, our humble producer for the week down here in New York, I'm a little bit of a scattered guy. I'm a little erratic, and my notes are a little all over the place too. I'm a little OCD. So I take a crazy amount of notes, and they're just, it's a lot of volume. I don't know that they would have had an opportunity to go through them all, but had they done so, they might have just had more questions. They wouldn't have caught on to the plan. There was no fucking plan. Anyway, well, so that's what we're talking about here. I guess the mics are live. How much have we done here already? Just out of curiosity. We're at 10 minutes since the point that I said, let's, okay, Jesus Christ. Well, all right. This is why the pod doesn't grow, by the way. Is like I don't welcome people a lot of the time. I just start talking and riffing, and I don't say, hit like, fucking please subscribe. All the shit that you're supposed to do. So I'm doing this 10 minutes in. It's supposed to be the first thing I prompt people to do. Fucking, so welcome to New York, folks. Welcome to episode 251 of the Bordello. Please like and subscribe if you're new. I hope this finds you well. We were supposed to have an NYPD cop on the pod, but he had to cancel, and we're hoping to get him in at a later date. But so we're rolling solo now. We have a number of guests who will hopefully be on the docket who are slated to have on in the weeks to come. I'll be here for a while. I joked about claiming asylum from Canada because of the persecution that podcasters will be facing in the years to come, amid new legislation being passed by the federal government. If the U.S. Customs and Border Agency, or whatever the fuck they're called, is watching this, and you want to go back and look at old shit I said in recent pods, that was tongue-in-cheek. But also maybe it wasn't. I have a right. I'm on a visa now. I'm legally allowed to claim asylum if I want. Maybe I will, maybe I won't. That's the point. I got rights. I'm Canadian, man. Chris Italia won't stop talking about how it's because he thinks I look like a terrorist. I think I could pass for Israeli too. So I think that's kind of a moot point. But anyway, so there are pro-Palestine protests going on, and so our NYPD cop friend got called in and had to, I guess, work. So it's enough now. It's enough. Now it's starting to affect me. And at this point, I don't give a shit. I don't have a dog in the race anymore. I just want to be able to have guests on when they want to come on. Can we leave the fucking cops to do their fucking... Can we let them have a social life? Again, protesters staged sit-in demanding ceasefire in Gaza at Statue of Liberty. I didn't realize you could be at the foot of the Statue of Liberty. That feels like a lot of logistics involved with going to protest to be seen by not a lot of people. I guess there are a lot of tourists there, but... interesting. Hundreds of protesters staged a sit-in demonstration at New York Statue of Liberty on Monday afternoon demanding a ceasefire in Gaza. About 500 members and supporters of Jewish Voice for Peace New York City waved flags and banners and sang pro-peace songs, according to a spokesperson for the group. Okay, interesting. It kind of feels like the episode of The Sopranos where the natives and the Italians were having a standoff on Columbus Day. I don't know, Matt. Just the protests in New York obviously aren't doing a thing, but they give people, a reason to feel like they're involved, I guess. Like I was in Union Square the other day. Peter, I was in Union Square the other day. And I was having Starbucks egg bites. There's a Starbucks right here, and I got a Starbucks gift card from a buddy before coming. He's like, hey, have a good time here. It's on me. And so I bought a couple of Starbucks egg bites, and I'm sitting in Union Square on Saturday, and there are people demonstrating for, the Ukrainian cause, I guess. There's a guy with a bullhorn saying, he's saying, you think he's saying, we need to send more weapons to Ukraine. More weapons to Ukraine. More weapons to Ukraine. And I'm just programmed now to think, like, what a cuck. What a fucking bitch, Meanwhile, I'm sitting there with Starbucks egg bites like, oh, that guy's a fucking cuck. And meanwhile, he's like saying, arm the rebellion. And I'm eating Starbucks food. Oh, that guy's a real fucking pussy, isn't he? Fucking just munching away on Starbucks
food with your Starbucks gift card.
Oh my God. Yeah. So I don't know what right I even have to judge that guy. But can you imagine there's so many people smoking weed in Union Square, especially on a Saturday. It smells like a giant, marijuana cloud. And I don't know if that's like the vibe, like when you're smoking weed, you fucking just turn your head and there's a guy like, more weapons. Send you spiraling.
It's not any worse than the normal homeless people you see there, so.
I guess so, but yeah, I wouldn't, as a guy who doesn't smoke much, I wouldn't want to smoke in New York City. It's not a calming place. I don't know. It's not exactly the woods.
It just gives you a different kind of paranoia.
Yeah. No, it's not it for me anyway. If I had been smoking weed or if I had taken an edible and there was a guy yelling about sending weapons to Ukraine, I don't think I'd have been able to get home. So I sympathize with those people. Well, what the fuck is it going to do, right? Except for make you feel good. And it's a photo op, Look, people demonstrated in New York City. All right, that'll solve it. Here's the thing, man. Here's the thing. I understand from the Jewish point of view, you saying, sorry, we're we're better at war. Like, we're winning this war. We got weapons and they don't. You know what I'm saying? They have people funding them. Get those people to fund you and let's do this. Let's do the man dance. But you know, this is we have to surrender because we're smoking you. I get it, but you want us to exhibit humanity. I understand that. Here's my appeal to the Israelis. And it's not because I care about preserving human life. Do what you got to do. You know what I'm saying? Fucking blow up the whole region and then the conflict's gone. There's no Israel, there's no Palestine, and you're two people wandering the earth without a country. That's obviously not that's not the Pareto optimal outcome. But this is a little bit of a sloppy point here. And my parents did tell me when you go down, stop talking about Israel and Palestine. And I don't know why I'm riffing on this, but it's affecting me personally now, and that's the point, because I lost a fucking guest because of this. So despite the fact that I don't really have a dog in the race, except for my basic desire as a human being to not have people die, and I wish, it be the case, but I'm also not so naive as to think that wars won't happen, and that if we just protest, the Israelis will put the guns down and stop killing, or attempting to kill people, who are in very close proximity to people who want to kill them. It's not that realistic. I understand. I'm a grown-up. But can you still do it? That's my appeal to the Israelis. All this to say, please put the guns down so that these fucking people can stop protesting in New York and the cops can come on the pod and talk about I quartieri spagnoli. He was an Italian cop. I won't reveal who it is. You guys might know him. I don't know. I think he's been open about him being a cop. I don't know. He's on. He'll be on soon. We spoke. It's fine. But I'm a man without a fucking guest now. I'm kind of a man without a country. The U.S. doesn't think that I have strong ties to Canada. Canada thinks that I'm trying to run away to the U.S. The U.S. don't want me, So, yeah, I don't know. And there's not enough of a stand-up scene in Italy for me to go there. I would destroy in Italy, by the way. Just being erratic. I think. I don't know if you know this, Peter. How Greek are you?
Not very Greek.
Not very Greek. European comedy is funny because they're into whimsical stuff a little bit more.
Like what kind of whimsical?
Just the definition of whimsical? Just wittiness. I don't know. The best comic in Italy is kind of is kind of a knockoff of Louis C.K. Can you look up Eleazaro Rossi? Rossi, R-O-S-S-I. Eleazaro, E-L-E-A-Z-A-R-O. Okay? Eleazaro Rossi. Go to images. Just pull this guy up real quick. If we can, maybe I'll just note this so we can overlay this in the background. Look at this fucking guy. Tell me this guy doesn't look like Louis. His cadence is Louis.
He looks a lot like Louis.
Yeah, and his whole delivery is Louis. He wears the black t-shirt. He's ginger. He's bald.
There's a lot of different ethnic Louis out there. Let me tell you.
Are there a lot of ethnic Louis? Is that a common thing that you guys have noticed in the business?
Yes.
He's like a flamboyant Louis. He's got the blonde platinum dyed hair. He's got the very typical Italian, black band tattoos over the arms. But, he's the best they've got. And he's funny, by the way. I like him. But I don't know. I just don't think I don't know. The problem is they would look at me like I don't know shit about shit over there. Because a lot of the things that get referred to are local. And I wouldn't really be able to comment on them with the same level of I don't know, maybe fervor as the people there. I just don't have it in me. I'm not a guy local to there. I don't know. I'm a man without a country currently. So we're doing this. We're doing this in New York. Peter is. I guess you'll probably be producing pods over the coming weeks. Dilo's kind of remotely involved now, and yeah. So welcome to the show, Peter. This is what it is. It's very scattered. It is very scattered indeed. So again, I wanted to kind of prepare this a little better, and then I just kind of started yelling and ripping it. Now this is a problem because I was saying, dude, give me your phone number. I'll send you stuff, and now we're recording live. I don't know. Can you fucking, Jesus Christ? I don't know. Can we bleep this out? Is that a problem? If you just give me your phone number real quick, I'm gonna text you. Let me text you. Let me text you a link here. This is all again. I know this is all very fucking scattered, and it's because we started going off script, I guess. Oh, you're gonna type in it? Beautiful, thank you. Okay, I'm gonna send you an article. Excuse me. Just look down. Okay, great. I'm gonna send you an article here to pull up on the screen before us, and Yeah, great. Okay, so I'm gonna read this headline here, and you could just pull it up while I get going. Excuse me. All right, we'll get this figured out a little better for the weeks to come. Just confirm that you got it. Cristiano Ronaldo's ex becomes the latest Bunga Bunga woman to be served eviction order by Silvio Berlusconi's family as they bid to reclaim property by Italian Prime Minister left. What the fuck? This is written really weird. Sorry, I'm just going to read this again. Okay, from the top. Great. Cristiano Ronaldo's ex becomes latest Bunga Bunga woman to be served eviction order by Silvio Berlusconi's family as they bid to reclaim property the Italian Prime Minister left them in his will. I think by they, the article is referring to a slew of women who I guess Berlusconi fucked at the orgies that he was known to hold at the turn of the century. Let's read this here. Manuela Ferrara was one of dozens of women invited to Berlusconi's parties. She was pledged payments and houses by Berlusconi for reputational damage. Berlusconi's now infamous parties later sparked a criminal investigation because there was an underage woman at one of them, I believe, as I recall. Let's just scroll up here. So, hang on. So, this lady, so she was an ex of Ronaldo. That's interesting. This is, okay, here we go. This is the latest Bunga Bunga. Jesus. Can we zoom in a little bit? Sorry. Thanks, buddy. This is the latest Bunga Bunga woman to be served an eviction order by the heirs. Controversial Italian Prime Minister Silvio Berlusconi, former TV weather girl Manuela Ferrara, who describes herself as a journalist, model, and influencer. That's a hell of a cocktail. Was one of dozens of women invited to the parties that Berlusconi insisted were simply, quote, elegant dinners. Here's why I love Silvio Berlusconi so much. Many of the listeners will probably be privy to this because we talk about him regularly, and many of the listeners are WAPs. Peter, I'll give you a little bit of a preliminary background as to who he is. He was the Prime Minister of Italy, and he would do stuff like this. He was 85. He died a few months ago, and he would bang women, I think, just to assert dominance. And
respect.
You know, he'd be popping Viagra's just to do it. Like, I think he was doing it for the sport, for the love of the game. But he was a very image conscious person, and he was a cheeky bugger. He was kind of like the guy that they say walked so that Trump could run, in terms of guys who had success with the populist script. So his thing was he would go up and kind of riff on stage, and he would be like, of course I like fucking women. What, am I not a man? Of course I do. Did I fuck those women? Of course. It would have, it was, it's only right that I did. He would own it a lot. But then sometimes he wouldn't, he wouldn't own it directly. He would say, I'm a classy man, I'm a rich man, we went out for nice dinners, type of thing. So anyway, so she is one of around 20 women who were pledged payments and houses by Berlusconi, who died of leukemia in June, aged 86. He pulled a Norm Macdonald, by the way, fought it totally in silence. He was running for, the guy had leukemia, he ran for prime minister a year ago.
Double respect.
You've got to respect the stamina that this guy had. So the women are suing him for reputational damage, and now his children want to cut the women off and evict them from the grace and favor houses he gave them in and around the city of Milan. Manuela, who also dated footballer Cristiano Ronaldo, was told she must be out of the flat in the upmarket Bandenere Primaticcio area of the city by the end of the year, but unlike other women in the saga, has agreed to not take legal action. There's a picture of her. She's 39. She looks 19, which is very important because she's on Italian television, and as you guys know, it's critical that you have long legs, big tits if you're going to do the news in Italy, because their sole reason for existing, the reason they're on the news, is to be flirted with by old men. The anchors, the sports guys, it's why they exist. She had a twin sister, and they were both at Berlusconi's parties in the beginning of the 2000s. So I guess they would have been around fucking, like 20 years old, 18, 19, 20. Maybe they were 16, by the way. That wouldn't have been untoward. Which, is legal. It's not exactly the image that many people would argue is what you want to put out, as the head of state, but it's Europe, and in some ways it's very on brand. what is the age of consent in Italy? Like 15 or 16? I always found it interesting that the age of consent is 16 and you could shkiaf a 16-year-old, but if you see a picture of them after, then it's considered child porn. So I don't know where like the inconsistency in the laws there is. I don't know, maybe they should be fucking thinking to increase the laws, or maybe you just fucking across the board say we don't give a shit about, you know, protecting the innocence of kids. I think you kind of got to pick a lane. But anyway, that's a whole thing. He hasn't done anything illegal, but how is he fucking deciding if he wants to fuck these women or not? You know what I'm saying? So it's illegal to see the pictures and solicit them, but then he fucks them and it's legal. It's all very weird. I don't know how old they were. It's icky. It's Berlusconi. You know what I'm saying? He's an Italian man who's like, I don't see, the beauty with him was he didn't see sexual orientation, he didn't see sex, he didn't see age, he didn't see race or creed. He would talk openly about how he liked fucking black women, and he probably openly talked about, I like fucking young women too because they're beautiful women to me. He was just very open with it, to a point that it's almost not gross, because you're like, how could it be gross? He's not apologizing for it. It's a very shining example of why you kind of just never admit having done anything wrong. Not because it's the right thing to do necessarily, but because it is a very effective method of damage control. So these birds, these dames, were paid 2,500 euro per month by Berlusconi. Apparently many other women were as well, and now their families want to evict them. This is like the Anna Nicole Smith thing. Didn't she... She married like this rich 90-year-old and then died. Rogan would talk about her a lot in his act, like in the 2000s, I think, because she was all the rage back then. And then I think the family tried to cut her out of everything. And, you know, it's a tale as old as time. But I think you got to know that the jig is up. You know what I'm saying? Like when, so she was married to J. Howard Marshall when she was 26. He was 89! 89 years old. A 63-year age gap. Jesus Christ. So it was a good run, you know? It was a good run. I don't know. Like, this is why. Do you know about what happened with Larry King's estate? He died a year ago. And I think he had like 800 grand left because he had gotten divorced 6 times because the same spiel had been done on him over and over again. And the last wife, I think, got like, you know, maybe like 500 grand or whatever. This guy who was like, you know, one of the highest paid news anchors or, you know, news guys on television for like, you know, decades. She probably thought she was getting a lot more than she did. That's a satisfying tale. Just because it's why is that satisfying to me? Is it because I'm a misogynist and I want women to suffer? I don't think that's it. But there is, why does that just... It's a very like Tate thought, you know, you stupid bitch, you know, the man works for it. And why does that bother? Why is that satisfying to me? I'm trying to think here on the fly. I don't know that it is actually. Now that I'm thinking about it, I'm actually kind of disappointed that she didn't get more, because I respect the hustle of women who do that. It's a, you know, it's a consensual thing. Larry King knows what he's getting out of it. It's a little bit of a scum move, I think, if Berlusconi's family is kind of trying to cut these women out, because Berlusconi cut the deals with them. Here's the thing. He was probably very happy to get serviced by these women or go out to these elegant dinners with them and, you know, just be taken care of. What I love about it is she said, I'm a good girl. And so this whole thing, my name getting dragged through this whole thing damages my reputation. Hence why I deserve these payments. Why I deserve to be put up in a house. You're getting paid 2,500 euro a month. You don't really have to live anymore, man. You're not getting married and having kids. You're 39. You don't have any fucking kids now because, you know, that kind of is, you know, contradictory. It goes against the lifestyle, right? The problem with these women is none of them have souls. So they don't have children and they want to just keep the hustle going. And, you know, that's stable passive income is what that is. You got to just go on to the next hustle. I don't know. You got to say it was a good ride and that's it. It's over. But I guess the reason why it might kind of satisfy me a little bit, and I think the instinct for a lot of people that hear this, especially people that listen to this fucking pod who don't like understand a lot of the nuance of what I'm saying, and, you know, kind of go, yeah, fuck all women, because for some reason that's who I attract. I wonder why, you know? I wonder why there's not a lot of fucking women that listen to this pod, and it's a lot of young dudes. But stay with me here. I do think that the reason you think that is because there is like an innate desire to see people, you know, work and deserve stuff. But if I don't know. This is very hack, but the inevitable, the logical thing that you think is, well, they put in a lot of work, having to suck Silvio Berlusconi's old dick and talk him up and pretend like he was all that. That's work in some ways, but I don't know. What's funny to me in all this is that she fucked Ronaldo. Like the Ronaldo and the former prime minister of Italy are Eskimo brothers is funny to me. Here's the larger point is I guess it really is a whole ecosystem that exists where if you invest in yourself and you get fake tits and you take care of your look and you just, behave like a fox, there are always opportunities for you to just interface with high value men. And it's crazy the range of high value men. One of the most powerful men on the planet, a head of state in a prominent European country, and the most famous, maybe best looking, most fit man on the planet. Yeah, I don't know. But it does show you where the priorities are. It's not about looks. It's about how can you take care of me and why is that? Why is that? Why do you want to be around these men? Because it just makes you feel powerful by proxy, maybe? Because it allows you to feel like you exist, like you're more connected with the universe. Is it more or less noble of a pursuit than having children and working or not working, having a husband who works and raising a family and teaching them about God? I don't know. The point is there's a lot of variance. There are a lot of different types of human experience that you can have. Ones with, honor and ones for people without souls, I suppose. Yeah, I really wish there was a guest on the fucking pod this week. How much time have we done?
We're at
here?
32.
32. That's not an hour.
What do you usually do?
That's not an hour. That's not an hour, my friend. We got a lot of time to still kill here. I'm of the mind that New York's an interesting city because you have people who come here who are not New Yorkers, who want to become New Yorkers, who don't get the respect of New Yorkers, and who are afraid of the New Yorkers. And then you have, New Yorkers who don't want the fucking people who aren't New Yorkers to come here and kind of, I don't know, colonize their city, I guess. But it's interesting. It's kind of like it is kind of like colonization in some ways, like people that come here who live in, the affluent areas and I don't know, the Soho, the young yoga women, for lack of a better word, who are hoping to land like a Wall Street husband, who are also not from the city, who might be from Middle America and wanted to escape that fucking shit, but watching American Psycho, and they're like, yeah, let's move there and find some plain Jane from Middle America who just wants to, I don't know, do Pilates. It's interesting. So you have these people who are kind of like, who feel above the local, but are also kind of charmed by them in a way that's almost patronizing. Kind of like you'd watch someone like on a safari. And I caught myself doing this because I was walking through Williamsburg the other day, which has a lot of Hasidic Jews. And I found myself kind of like looking at them like I was on a safari, like by myself, like, oh, look, little kids, look, got little Hasidic children there, like there's something about just seeing people in their own habitat that is kind of interesting. And I feel like that's probably a thing that Columbus did, where he was like, oh my God, look at these people, they're fucking not wearing shirts, Then you got like the locals who are like, who are these people colonizing our land? Get the fuck out, a little bit of bite back maybe. So it's a fascinating dichotomy. But Yeah, that's one of my favorite new activities is to walk through neighborhoods with large Orthodox Jewish population and just kind of observe them with binoculars. It's like a safe. You ever done you ever been in one of those? You ever see? I don't know if you guys have them here. You're from Connecticut. You're from the suburbs. I don't know if they fucking have this shit. I don't know if the Bronx Zoo has this, but you ever been to like one of those zoos that you could drive through and the zebras are like coming up to the window?
Yeah, they have one in Jersey.
They do?
At Six Flags, yeah.
Okay. Yeah. I can only imagine the fucking farm animals that go to that thing.
Yes, they're basically like they all just look like Tony Soprano.
Yeah. Yeah. Come here. Let's go see the fucking. What animals do they have? They have camels or
Let's go
something?
see a lion about a ting.
A what? A lion?
Let's go see a lion about a ting.
A lion about it? What do you mean? What language are you speaking?
I'm talking about we got to go do some business with the lions.
They have lions at the zoo in Jersey.
Yeah.
And you could drive past them.
Yes. It's just an open field where you drive your car in, and they have like all different animals, and then during the winter they like put them away and stuff in like
in a safe.
So yeah, somewhere
in a safe cage. They safely put them away in a crate somewhere.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
But yes, no, they have it's like I think it's called Six Flags Open Plains or something like that, and yeah, you just drive your car through, and they've got everything.
So, that's what Williamsburg feels like. There's a neighborhood in Montreal called Outremont, which has a similar thing going on. It's a few blocks where a bunch of Hasidic Jews live, like to the tune of maybe 10,000. Nobody knows the real number because they're always churning out babies. It's very funny. You drive down the street, they all have street parking because it's like a very urban area, kind of like Brooklyn,
Like East Brooklyn, Williamsburg.
type of thing. Yeah, just aesthetically, kind of like I don't know. Kind of like Brooklyn, like Park Slope maybe. A lot of minivans parked in front of streets because, again, swarms of kids. And I was driving through there kind of by accident just a week ago with my girlfriend. And we got caught behind a bus. And the bus kept stopping. We're like, what the fuck is going on? And we would see these little 3-year-old Jewish kids with backpacks getting off the bus and running up the stairs into their house. We're like, oh, look, we saw a little, kind of like a chipmunk almost. Oh my God, it's a little chipmunk. And I guess I don't know if their school week runs Sunday to Thursday instead of Monday to Friday. It might not. It might just be some kind of rabbinic Sunday school type of thing. I know they don't go to temple on Sunday. I don't know what it is. I have no clue. It could be Boy Scouts or something. But they got the curls. It's very funny. The curls, by the way, are a great hairstyle. Very conducive to the balding. The male pattern baldness doesn't affect that. You can always have the curls, which is very very good. Not very safe. It's a bat signal to commit a hate crime. That's but like there's no think about it, dude. You choose that lifestyle, you're stuck with it forever. There's no chance that it might start to wane. Nothing you could do about it. You got to be married to that forever. You're like, fuck, maybe one day when I get a little older, it'll get easier for me. It'll like put some hair on my nuts when I'm a kid. People will spit at me, throw rocks at me, and then eventually I'll grow up. And life will get easier. It'll fall out, and I'll just look like a guy with a beard.
Yeah, there's a bunch of comics that are the life path is either male pattern baldness while still having the curly cues or becoming a comic.
Yeah. What? As a Jew?
If you're a Hasid, that's you either stay in it or you become a comic.
You renounce it and
renounce it and become a comic.
Yeah. Was Ari Shafir? He was Orthodox, right?
Ari was Orthodox,
but he wasn't.
A couple people that work over at the club were previously Orthodox and have given that up to
full garb.
Full garb, yeah, the full 9.
Really?
Yeah.
I've never met Ari. If I had a chance to, I'd ask him.
He talks about it in Jew. He went to Yeshiva University.
It's been one of the best specials, by the way. We're side point, but that's one of the best specials of the last maybe fucking 10 years that anyone's put out, in my opinion. Maybe that's not fair to other. I don't know. There's a lot of great shit out there, but yeah, it was a fucking masterpiece. I interrupted you. Sorry. Yeah.
No, it's just, it's either, those are your options. You keep the curly cues for life, even if you're balding up top, you got the beard and the curly cues, or you denounce the life and become a comic. It's one or the other.
Yeah, well, he's got, funnily enough, he's got, I don't know if he's trimmed it, but he's got like a very Orthodox beard now, or a Hasidic beard almost. But what I was asking is if his family was Hasidic, because Orthodoxy and being devout is not necessarily the same as
don't think
being Hasidic.
I think they're Orthodox.
Yeah, I don't believe they are. Anyway, in any event, Yeah, a lot of different, a very wide range of Jews exist. The Orthodox are not the most menacing. They kind of keep to themselves, and that's their whole thing. It's like they don't want to be out in public. They don't want to be seen because they know they're being looked at. They kind of just want to mind their own business. That's why they walk very quickly. You ever been like through one of these neighborhoods? They always walk with a purpose. Like kind of like that, like, you know, this is kind of like the caricature of a Jew that would be drawn in like an Arabic, you know, satirical, maybe like a Lebanese, you know, kind of like Hezbollah leaning, you know, newspaper or something. You know, like these comic strips that have like the Jew being hunched over and walking really quickly. That's kind of true. Like when they're pushing a baby carriage, it's like they want to get the fuck out of wherever they are. That is accurate. So you have them a little bit frantic. Then you have the ones that you'll have in America who will protest, but ultimately aren't really going to enlist in the army. Most of them. I have one friend who wants to. You know, to which I thought, you know, what are you going to do? Fuck it, you know, like, you're going to paint pictures for them? You're going to bake them cookies? What are you going to do? I admire your commitment to the cause. But then you have the Israelis who are like Rambo. It's a whole different cohort, you know. Many of them are Arab Jews, and you do not want to fuck with them. If you think you can commit a hate crime on any guy with a yarmulke, you're fucking wrong. If you hear him, if he has a thick enough beard and you hear him speaking like a vaguely, you know, Semitic type language, a Middle Eastern language, you steer the fuck clear because that guy knows judo. So, I don't know. I enjoyed walking through Williamsburg because, again, kind of like just seeing it in the wild. It was fascinating. It was interesting. But I do understand that I didn't want to make them uncomfortable because I'm sure the zebras are petrified at that zoo in Jersey. They don't know what a car is. They're animals that might feel like, you know, these cars and humans might be a threat. Granted, they're feeding them, I assume. Maybe not. Maybe they can't lower the windows. But there being lions and all. I'm not sure how it works. Maybe I'll go through that thing in my Honda Civic and see if it just can stand the wrath of a fierce jungle cat. What's this video you're pulling up? In Hebrew, we run the other direction. Marathon.
Brooklyn half marathon.
Is this from the other day?
No, this is from the summer, and it's Hasidic Jews trying to cross the street while the marathon's happening.
You know what? I saw a guy do that with passing cars.
Yes.
With a stroller. Ripped it past the street. Just turned on the jets. There's something about the top hat.
Have you ever noticed? And the
suit.
Every
that makes it funny.
Like sub-ethnic group has their own little like truffle shuffle. Like, you know, there's like a certain Asian with a backpack run. There's a Hasidic guy trying to cross a street run. There's
a skinny African guy from Kenya run. He's a student.
Exactly.
He doesn't understand all the racial stuff. He just wants to work.
I think they call that a distance runner, but you know.
Yeah. Well, yeah, but the guy. But you know what I mean. A guy with that build.
But this is the great one.
Or like a Rush, even like an Eastern European lanky Slavic guy who works in tech, probably has a huge fucking schlong on him, but he's really like he's got like scoliosis maybe. That's a hunched over, very particular, you know, look as well. Chinese guy run. That's a great Google search. Very concise and to the point. Is this the guy with the cigarette you're looking up?
Yes.
The guy running with the cigarette in his mouth?
Yes.
Yeah, so there's this marathon runner in China who, I guess, for the nicotine, chain smokes. And it's funny because he looks kind of wise, sage. He looks like a sage old man.
3 hours and 28 minutes. That's a really fast marathon time.
He's like, looks like he's 72. Yeah. So he's probably like, he's probably 88, right? And that's how it works with those guys. Those guys age really well.
I respect the ability to light a cigarette while running. That's
the
most impressive part of it.
Yeah, it's like in The Sopranos when remember when Richie, you watched The Sopranos?
I bailed after season 2.
You remember when Richie Aprile talked about how Chrissy Moltisanti's got the ability to smoke and walk without taking the cigarette out of his mouth because his nose is like a I don't know, like some kind of automated filter. That's what this guy's got going on. So anyway, the ethnic runs. Thank you. Well, thank you for thank you for the interlude. That was delightful. The time I got caught behind that bus a week ago was fun because we weren't expecting it though. We knew we were in that area, but we didn't expect it, and I'm not proud to say we followed that bus around for a while to the point that they thought, what the fuck is going on? Because I look like this, right? Like they don't know what I am. I could be Israeli, but I could also be the enemy, you know? And so that was kind of my thinking of walking around Williamsburg, is I don't want to look at them too much. Because my instinct, there's one comic who goes up at the stand a lot who got jumped recently, and he was telling me about it, and it kind of got me a little paranoid to the point that I was like, I got to walk around like with my shoulders rolled back now and fucking make eye contact with everyone like a psychopath, looking like I'm ready to, initiate the takedown. But in that area, when it was predominantly Hasidic Jews, I didn't do that because I didn't want to scare them, because I look like this and I didn't want to throw them off because they probably thought it's not safe out here. But again, they really aren't helping themselves. It's noble, but they're not helping themselves with the bat signals that they throw out. You could see them from a mile away. And again, here's the thing. This is not all the Jews. It's a sect. But the ones who choose to commit to this can be spotted from a very long way away just because of the silhouette, the hat and so on, the trench coat. And the fact that they all have like a marking in the doorway indicating, this is, come get us. You know what I'm saying? It's like wearing the gay earring, just come tap this ass. You would think, like, after centuries in Europe, like in the maybe, 1700s, the 1800s, maybe, okay, like there have been a lot of pogroms. Maybe we could try to like do this in silence. But a lot of them still just said, fuck it, we're rolling with it. It's very admirable, when you think about it in some ways. And wherever they go, they wear the same thing. In Israel, the Hasids wear the trench coat and the black and the shirt and the hat. And in Brooklyn, where there's garbage everywhere, the women wear the long dress and the ballet flats, which are not, conducive to, not the best things to walk around in, with, rat piss on the floor everywhere. But, God love them, they do it anyway. So
you would think they would have by now got some summer outfits, It's been around a couple 100 years. I think you get a summer fit, you get a winter fit, you get a springtime fit, but same thing year round. Maybe
that's why they're just always walking quickly. Is like they're cold or they're hot and they want to get the fuck out of wherever they are. They're never comfortable. You know what I'm saying? Like, well, I guess, why is it always the trench coat? Is there a, but anytime you get into any kind of religious thing that involves attire, I start to ask questions. I start to think, this like smells like a little bit of bullshit. You know what I'm saying? Like the Amish, like, what's that doing for them? They could. I actually respect the idea of drawing a line in the sand. We make fun of them now and say, look at them living in 1870. But and Family Guy did a bit about this where they said, I think, they I don't remember what the joke was, but they cut away on the, people on like an Amish, what's it called? I don't know, reservation, an encampment. I don't know, so some Amish community. And they were saying, this is how we want to live. The perfect technology, horse and buggy, 1870, not too much, not too little. And the idea was that, this is ridiculous. But on some level, it's actually kind of sensible, because there will not be, an end to the continued innovation. We can't, I don't know if we can play this on YouTube, so we don't even have to bother. But basically, the shtick was, they're like, this is how we want to live. 1870. We think that this is peak humanity. No, some technology, not too much, not too little. And it's funny to make fun of that now because we have phones and they don't. But also one day, while you and I are probably alive, if we continue to live life without incident, there'll be people putting chips in their brains, and those people will still be having normal human interactions, and they won't be totally compromised, and their dopamine levels will be at like regular, and I don't know, regulated, I guess. So you do have to stop. Like, if we stopped innovating forever, we're good. We don't really need or lack for anything. If we just distributed the resources that we have to more people in the world and that was it, we'd still be kind of fucked because we've probably gone a little too far. We could have stopped 30 years ago, 10 years ago, any point in the relative, like, in the relatively recent past. We can't go backwards. We can only stop. We won't stop, but like there's no, it's like when do you stop smoking? Yesterday. You know what I'm saying? If you want to preserve your chances of living. But like, oh, so what do you not want to have access to fucking VR porn one day? Like, what do you get? Like, watch it, you know, ride her without ever having to fucking, you know, it's going to create fucked up people who, you know, but they'll feel like the man. They'll all get to feel like, you know, Caesar or Caligula. And that's cool. Because on some level, you'll get to feel like the peak type of human being ever. It'll be virtual, but you'll get to feel it. You'll get to simulate it. So it's, you know, by the same token, you're gonna be a fruitcake, not fucking smoke. Like be a man, fucking smoke, dude. You know, you don't have to fucking, you know, you don't have to do it when you run. Vapes. Like this guy. What? Sorry. Specifically, smoke vapes. That's a half measure. I think I might have talked about this on a pod recently, but like that's a half measure. I only respect people who in North America. What did I say? Jesus, I don't even remember my own rules. I think I said in Europe, I respect you if you. I think I only respect you if you smoke or you don't because you're doing what you have to do or you're foregoing it, and that exhibits discipline. Like that is a showing of discipline. If you smoke casually in Europe, you're a fucking loser because you need to just kind of pick a side. But if you're in North America, smoking is kind of like less than, you know, it's undignified, but also not smoking and being anal about it is also kind of like, shut up. The only respectable way is to do it once in a while. That was my thinking. So, but whatever. I'm all over the map here, but the point is, okay, it would be ideal if we could just sort of stop technological development. It won't happen, but if we did, we're good where we are. And the Amish are good where they are. They don't need radio. They don't need TV. They eat, they fuck, they provide. That's it. They're fulfilled. And, you know, the crazy ones question stuff, and that's about it. Maybe, you know, they ponder philosophy, and I guess because they have access to technology, and you could go down the street and see people with, like, you know, vehicles that are ripping past you as you're, you know, on a horse and buggy on the highway. It is a bit like it's not like it's out of sight, out of mind. It's there. You could see what the rest of the world is going through. There's temptation there. But I guess like back in the day when people were living in isolation, you know, and there was not as much like crazy advanced tech, I guess the extent to which a person would rebel is just by, you know, considering stuff. Is this all useful? Is this not? Is this, what are we doing this all for? Is it futile? You know, questioning what it all means, questioning if God is real. But the garb is not necessary, is the point. You know, you could live on a kibbutz in Israel, not the safest place to be right now, but just as a good example. It's like kind of like a commune, but they don't live. It's a very, you know, it's an idea which is, I think, only really, you know, been around specifically in Israel to serve, you know, Jews and Jews who wanted to go back and provide and live in a more humble way. But I don't believe there's any dress requirement. You could attain the thing. You could live in a holistic way and not dress a certain way, you know? Like people who go on yoga retreats all dress a certain way, but that's because, you know, they're all brainless and they're just doing the thing that they feel should be done, but they're not, you know, it's like an unwritten rule. There's no obligation to dress, you know, a certain way. They just do it kind of naturally. But
what if you wore a Hasidic outfit to a yoga retreat? That could be fun. I think you would scare a lot of those women. That's the reality. That's the reality, and it's not, and that's an uncomfortable reality. But if you wanted to just, because that's the thing, these yoga retreats are only ever women, and by their nature, women just don't trust one another, and they don't like anyone that's a little, you know, that's kind of, I don't know, that poses a threat to the vibe or poses a threat to the group. So that wouldn't work, because if you had somebody come in the long dress and was like, I'll take off my shoes, you know, and what else do I need? Do I need these spandex? I could move freely. Fuck, I'm letting it all breathe with this fucking huge skirt. It's actually better to do yoga. Just let my shit breathe. Like, bend over, you know, just airs it all out instead of constricting it and sweating,
you know, through the vaginal canal, through these like tights, you know. You've been there before, right? You know what I'm talking about, I'm sure. Like, so even if it's more efficient for performance, you know, even if it's performance enhancing, I don't think it would be appreciated. But yeah, I don't know. You could even say like why do the Sikhs need, you know, the turban? Why do monks need to wear a robe? Why do, you know, why? The one that actually makes sense to me, and this is an unpopular opinion, and I don't want to get in trouble for this one, but stay with me. The one that makes sense is the burqa. That's the one that makes the most sense because it's the most rational. Like there's the like in economics we talk about what is rational behavior and what's not. Is there like a specific reason for it? Not like a woo-woo one, not a vague fucking superstitious one, not a customary one, but a real functional one. You know, in some ways, some people would say it's a very misogynistic practice, which doesn't enable women to kind of be free and so on. But I think we could, by the way, we could kind of look past that because a lot of those women who might make that point are protesting, you know, in favor of Palestine right now, just because that's where the curtains, you know, where the current's taking them. So they're comfortable to look past that, I guess, in that context. But hear me out. It's almost like it's more of an anti-men point. It's like men are such pigs, we can't even trust them to look at these beautiful, fairer creatures. You know, it's like putting them up in a way that's you're divine. Keep that shit away from my you know, my prying eyes so that nobody gets any ideas. No funny business. You know, I guess, I mean, that's kind of what the Orthodox Jew female attire is as well. Very humble, you know, in some ways. Catholic girls wearing, you know, shit up to their ankles. It's the thing that makes the most sense. It's that to the, you know, nth power. But, well, anyway, this was fun. This was a fun solo riff.
We're a little short of an hour. We're at 57.
That's fine. That's cool. I had fun doing this. This is just sort of a little teaser, I guess, of what's to come in terms of the setting. I don't know what the background is going to be. We got a green screen behind us. I haven't decided what I want to do. I said initially, let's make it look like I'm in an underground terror cell in Gaza. And I don't know why, because I thought maybe I could just like come out and, because I was going to say, stop the bombings, so that the cops could stop having there's a domino effect. There's a butterfly effect to stopping the bombings. I want to make very clear. It's very selfish. Very selfish. I want the cops to come on the pod. That's all I want. How does that happen? Work backwards. Stop the bombings. So funny would have been if I like just took off this shirt and like put a veil over my head and was like, please, I'm just an innocent, you know, I'm but an innocent mother, you know, my baby can't. I don't know. I'm not gonna close that thought out. It doesn't go anywhere. It doesn't go anywhere good. Okay, listeners, subscribe to the pod if you're new. Please leave a like on the video. Much love to you all. Yeah, I don't know how many pods we're gonna do out here, but I'm hoping it's more than one a week. And we've got Azzurri games coming up next week. That'll be cool. We'll have a lot to look forward to. I think the call-up list will likely be coming out in the days to come. So we might have a more cultural-centric episode. Chris will be very happy. Chris, I think, is not going to help me, Peter, until I commit to talking about Italian football. If you enjoyed this, can you tell him, hey, like, it's a little all over the place, but the kid's got something. Like, he's able to talk about stuff other than, like, why are you trying to only put him in this one box? You know, I fight with it. We clash heads a lot over that whole thing. But anyway, man, I love you for being here. It's very, very kind of you for doing so. And for your input. It was very welcome, and I enjoy it. I miss Dilo very much, but you've been a fine custodian for the role of producer of this episode. I'm looking forward to the weeks to come. So listeners, much love to you all. We'll catch you soon. Alla prossima. Ciao.